Hello, dear colleagues. I'm glad to present you results of our research, development of intelligent information technology, of computer processing, of pedagogical tests, open tasks based on machine learning approach. The world pandemic of the new coronavirus has changed the usual way of life and approaches to education. Over the past few months, the number of students affected by the closure of schools and universities in 138 countries has nearly quadrupled to reach 1.38 billion. This means that over 3 out of 10 children and young people around the world are not able to attend educational institutions. The closure of educational institutions also affected nearly 60.2 million teachers. However, the pandemic only accelerated the process of digitalization of the educational process, and trends in the transition of training to online have been observed for several years. One of the integral parts of the existence of mankind is the creation, transfer, and accumulated knowledge and skills. That is a transfer of information. Recently, such teaching methods as distance learning, e-learning, and self-study have been actively developed. The widespread adoption of the internet in all aspects of information technology has also affected the organization of the learning process and effective human resource management. Now, computer courses are very popular. They represent electronic textbooks and provide independent study, but they are being replaced by distance and online learning. In the process of education, the interaction between the teacher and the student is very important. The teacher needs to understand how well the student understands and assimilates the material. Traditional methods of remote control of knowledge use closed types of test tasks based on the usual calculation of the correct answers, and this doesn't always correctly reflect the student's knowledge. In this regard, this research presents the current development of the methods for computer processing of open tasks to conduct an effective analysis of the learning of educational material. So the aim of the research is to analyze the methods and approaches used for computer processing of natural language, as well as tools to solve the problem of identifying text messages and to build intelligent information technology for open tasks. Processing. For tasks of this type, we used machine learning approach. And to teach word selection without pre-market data, we first need to solve several problems, such as to create data tuples in the format input word, source word. Each word is represented as a lifelong vector of length n, where the I value is encoded by 1 and the I position, and zeros at all the others. Second is to create a model that receives one-hot vectors on input and output. Third is to determine the loss function predicts the right word to optimize the model. And the last one is to determine the quality of the model, making sure that similar words have similar vector representation. So let's look on some methods we have analyzed and used. First one is linear classifier. Linear classifier is a way to solve classification problem when a decision is made on the basis of a linear operator on the input data. The class of problems that can be solved using linear classifiers respectively have the property of linear separability. So the formulas is presented on this slide. The linear classification operation for two classes can be imagined as the reflection of objects in multidimensional space into a hyperplane in which those objects that fall on one side divides the lines belong to the first class yes, and the objects on the other side to the second class no. Linear classifier is used when it's important to carry out fast calculation with high speed. So the second method was Softmax. It's a generalization of the logistic function for the multidimensional case. The function converts a vector z of dimension k into a vector of the same dimension, where each coordinate of the resultant vector is represented by a real number in the interval 0, 1, and the sum of the coordinates is 1. Typically, Softmax is used for the last layer of deep neural network for classification tasks. The trained neural network cross entropy is used as an option for losses. And one more method was maximum likelihood method. The maximum likelihood methods, also known as highest probability methods, in mathematical statistics is a method for estimating an unknown parameter by maximizing the likelihood function. It is based on the assumption that all information about the statistical sample is constrained in the function. Maximum likelihood assessment is a popular statistical method that is used to create a statistical model based on data and provide an estimate of model parameters. So the maximum likelihood estimates is an estimate that maximizes the likelihood function for a fixed sample implementation. For development and implementation of results, we used TensorFlow library. It's an open machine learning software library developed by Google to solve the problem of building and training a neural network to automatically detect and classify images, achieving the quality of human perception. While the system is learning, we need to check how well the network works in terms of accuracy. We do this with a test suite taken from testing data. So it doesn't have duplication with training data. Using validation sets based on testing data allows you to better understand how well the network can generalize what it is studying and apply it to other contexts. If we check the training data, the network may be oversaturated. In other words, finding out specific examples and remembering the answers to them doesn't help the network answer new questions. After a little workout, let's take a look inside and see what answers we get from the network. You can see it on the slide. We visualize attention for each of the episodes. It's rows for all sentences, it's columns in our context. Darker color pay more attention to the sentence on this episode. You should see a change in attention between at least 2 episodes for each question, but sometimes the attention will be answered within 1, and sometimes it will take all 4 episodes. If the attention turns out to be empty, it can be saturated, and pay attention to everything at once. So under this research, the information presented in this research may form the basis for further development and improvement of the intelligent information technology of task processing for open tests. According to the developed models, a software product was created for further practical use. Within this research, theoretical material of natural language processing was analyzed. The following steps are used to solve the natural network training problems, such as data collection for training, preparation and normalization of data, experimental selection of training parameters, on training, validation of training, adjustment of parameters, and final training. The software was implemented in Python, and the TensorFlow library was used. A neural network-based quality control system was created using a closed domain. Thank you for your attention.